Hey, sorry for the interruption, but we wanted to let you know that this week's episode is brought to you by Spotify for Podcasters. Really cool app. Josiah and I use it for every single show that we bring to you every week. You can edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so you can start creating as soon as you log into the platform. You can easily distribute your podcasts to Spotify and everywhere else the podcasts are heard, just like we do every single week. You can also create video podcasts on Spotify, which is really cool. And of course, you can earn money like I'm doing right now by including ads and even podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free. There's no catch. We really love it. We use it every single week. So we encourage you to go download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. All right, let's get back to the show.
Radical! Welcome to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. Each week, join the gnarly Travis and Josiah as they provide insight into the print on demand industry and equip you with the totally tubular tools, advice, and strategies you need to achieve success and hopefully have a few laughs along the way. Now on to this week's Totally Tubular show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 103. We are one episode away from 2 years, Travis.
Wow.
It's
amazing.
True. It is true. I can't believe it. We talked a lot about on this show before, like, we obviously didn't see this coming at all, but very, very excited. Next week, just so you guys know, mark your calendars now. We are going to be going live with Chris Green. So the episode that was supposed to be for, what was it? The 100th episode?
Right.
Yes. The 100th episode idea is actually happening next week for the 104th episode, marking the 2 year that's next week, Monday at 5:30 Mountain Standard Time. So mark your calendars. We will put out a recorded version of the live, but that's not as fun, obviously, because you can't interact with us on the live. And of course, the best way to interact with us on this live is to go to printondemandcast.com/Facebook and join the group, because that's where we will be going live in. And that's where everything is going to be happening, is inside the Facebook group. So bring your questions, your dad jokes, your comments, questions for Chris. Of course, he's super knowledgeable in all things print on demand and Amazon and all of that. So
I have a great idea. I mean, because this live is going to be,
live
2 years, it's kind of it's going to be a little bit of what we would call a waffle. For those of you in England,
yes,
that
explain what a waffle is. Yeah.
You just kind of, it's like banter. You just kind of talk about things and you waffle. Anyway, so with Chris Green, we're going to be waffling about print on demand.
Yeah.
However, if you are going to come on the live, I think we should do something, Josiah, where perhaps we have a dad joke competition. What do you think?
Yeah, I actually think that's a great idea.
I know, right?
Dad joke battle. You've heard of freestyle battles before. You've heard of all of those types of dropping bars. Well, we want you to drop dad jokes in the comment sections of this live, and we will read them. And if there's enough, we will crown a winner. We can do tournament style. I think that'd be fun.
We'll even throw you a T-shirt of your choosing if you win. So how about that?
That's right. A T-shirt of your choosing from printondemandcast.com/shop is where you can go to get that T-shirt. So go there, and a little bit of a rearrangement on the website. But if you go there, it just says, hey, you're looking for merch, click here, click the word here, takes you straight to the store. Bada bing, bada boom. Everyone's happy, and you get a shirt. You get to buy one, or we'll give you one if you have the best dad joke. So you have to earn it either way. So Travis, it is Monday as we're recording. When we got on the call, I said, hey man, how you doing? And you said, it's a Monday. And I said, yeah, it's a Monday. And you said, unfortunately. So how's your Monday been that warranted such a response?
The thing is that was like an hour ago.
Yeah, it was.
I'm in much better spirits now, having spent an hour waffling, with you and talking about different things and playing each other different clips from the internet to laugh hysterically at. But no, this Monday was a little bit challenging. We're still having an issue with one of our printers, and it's just
Which
we
one?
can get it to print, but the one on the right, the one that we got from you guys, of course, and exactly. So it just one thing after another. I mean, we're still we're still on track for getting things out, but it's really just so frustrating because I felt like we caught up a lot last week. And so with one printer down it was only down for half the day. It was really more exploratory, figuring out what was wrong, but we called Epson.
Sure.
We called Carlos, who, we called him as well. And, we're like, hey man, this is, but we are documenting it all, and I am going to run that at the flagpole to the North American sales director who visited our shop a couple weeks ago. Well, a month ago or so. And we had a face-to-face because he was like, we're so sorry this is happening. And he's like, please let me know if there's any more issues. Well, I will. And I'm going to be doing that. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. I don't know where that's going to go, but it's really been frustrating. Last time, to their credit, they did replace a couple print heads for us. They also extended our service plans out a few more months beyond because of the downtime, they said. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm still getting downtime. What's the next thing? And, I would be lying if I didn't say my ultimate goal is to have them just ship me a brand new printer. But that's probably a ways away. But in the meantime, we are keeping a log of all the issues that we're having, and we're going to report to them kind of, I'm going to fly up higher up the flagpole, not just our tech that's coming out. Because now I have some contacts in the higher ups, and I'm going to say, hey, this is what happened. And you guys weren't able to resolve it the first day. And we'll see, tomorrow is the second day. We're going to see if what they said to do today works for tomorrow. And if it doesn't, we're going to be on the phone again. And it's just very frustrating. So that was the reason for my, I don't know, less than enthusiastic greeting when I first came on.
That'll happen. And it's, it's very strange as far as the history with that printer.
I know.
It's not, it seems like, we had some issues with it when it was for apparel, but not to this extent. So it's just, I know firsthand, for those listening, the frustration with this printer, because it was every week something was happening. So
just very thankful we have two printers, for that very reason, so we can continue production when one is having issues. Because otherwise we'd be in big trouble. How was your Monday?
Absolutely. My gosh, sorry, I'm tired. It was good. I drove back. So I was in Wyoming over the weekend, from Wednesday night to 3:00 today. So it was good. Went over. All of my family was going to be in town, so I figured it'd be a good time to go visit. Thursday was the 1 year passing of my brother-in-law, and so everyone was in town for that. And then that next day was my great nephew's birthday, first birthday, and then Sunday was a party for him. So between all of those things, everyone of my immediate family, siblings, nieces and nephews were in town. So it'd be a good time to go and have a great time. And I shared this with you offline, but man, I'll tell you, birthday parties for 1-year-olds is a production that just is not worth it. It is. Everything leading up to Sunday was about this boy's birthday party. Balloons and all the cupcakes and all the cakes and this balloon arch. And my mom's house isn't that big. It's a split level home. It's not that big though. So there's not a lot of spaces. And, my sister, my brother-in-law just moved in with my mom. So you've got that happening. And my nephew is now in there, and they have their two, black and chocolate labs are there. And then my sister's there with her dog visiting. And then my other niece came from Montana, stayed in my mom's house. So, there was just so much happening in this tiny space. And so, the balloon arch was in what was my dad's office. At one point, balloons from floor to ceiling, filling up this space. And thankfully, I had been done working. I was able to work from that office space before they inundated it with balloons. And but there's balloons in the living room. There was balloons. I mean, it was so ridiculous. And the whole time, I'm just saying, like something would happen that wouldn't go exactly to plan. I'd be like, guys, he's not going to remember any of this. This isn't. Nothing about this first birthday is for him. Like, it's completely for the grandparents and the mom and the dad. But even my niece and her husband were like, this is the most like extra thing we've ever seen in our lives. Like, there's more. Totally. So for some, I guess, context, there was a wedding that same weekend for one of my nephew's friends that he was the best man in, and the bride and groom from that wedding showed up to my great nephew's name is Noah, showed up to Noah's birthday party, and they walked up and they were like, there are more people at this party than there were at our wedding. Like that's how. I mean, the whole thing was like a celebrity birthday for a child, and it was just so ridiculous. And Noah, he was teething, so he wasn't feeling well, and he doesn't like things on his hands like cake frosting and stuff. So this is him at the beginning of the day, right? He's happy as all get out. That's my niece and her husband, and that's
a cute picture.
Yeah, he's loving life, and he's just, he's such normally such a mild-mannered, happy baby when he's not, having 101-degree fever and teething. So that was him at the beginning, and then this is him the moment they tried to put cake in his mouth, and he was not having it. He did not enjoy anything about this cake, the experience. His favorite fruit is blueberry. So they put blueberries in the cake, wanted nothing to do with it. He was just not having it. The crazy thing is we cleaned him up and sat him on a blanket, and he got to open presents and all the toys, and they gave him they put a little thing of blueberries in front of him, and he started eating the blueberries, but he didn't want the frosting or the cake. He wanted nothing to do with it. He just wanted the blueberries. So
he's a very health-conscious child.
Very bizarre for a 1-year-old to be like, hey, this cake makes me feel, I don't like the frosting. Give me the blueberries. I don't know.
I really feel like we should, encourage parents of, upcoming 1-year-old children to either A, not do the birthday party, or B, provide a keg. I think those are really the two options.
Yeah. No. Look at me. Those of you who have a child approaching the 12-month milestone, just don't do it. That's the easiest thing to say. It was my niece. We made eye contact at one point. As you can see from the pictures, it was all outdoors. And I'm just kind of standing there observing things. And she looks at me and we make eye contact. And she says, I will never do anything like this ever again. so it'll be interesting to see with their next kid. And I told Madeline, like, I'm all about when our kids won, throwing them a party and celebrating him, and you know what I mean? But I'm not doing a Broadway production. There will not be 3 to 4 drop sets that we fly in and out. There's not going to be these, tearaway, whatever. Like, it's just not happening. He's a child. Give the kid some cake and have him open some presents. But otherwise, no, it just wasn't worth it. So that was my weekend. I mean, overall, it's a good time. I went to the fair in my hometown, which I hadn't been to since middle school, like the county fair, some bull riding and
cool
stuff like that, which was a good time. But so got back today at 3, took a nap, and I was telling you before we started recording, it's the kind of tired where I woke up and I was just like unaware of my surroundings. Like I thought I was still in Wyoming, but I wasn't, because my wife walked in the room and I was like, what is happening? And she's like, what's going on? And I'm like, give me a second. Don't engage conversation right when I wake up, because I'm in a really grumpy mood. If I'm disoriented, just let me reacclimate to the elevation. I think it's really what it was. But anyway, so yeah, that's I hope you guys were hungry for breakfast, because that's a lot of waffle that we just gave you. A lot of waffle, which I think is a great term. So let's go to the let's just go straight to the point of interest, because we have something that I think is going to be interesting to talk about. So to the point of interest.
Point line of interest.
Beautiful every time. Excuse me. So this week, it actually comes, a point of interest comes from someone from our Facebook group that posted something for us. And it's interesting. It is a brand that I am aware of. They kind of came to prominence during COVID, and it was literally a single shirt that kind of got him completely started. But the brand Lions Not Sheep, you've probably seen, those of you listening, you've probably seen something with that phrase on it, a shirt or a hat or a cup or whatever, because they have gotten fairly popular from that shirt. So he is in some hot water, I guess. It's about $200,000 worth of hot water. So Sean Whalen, who is the founder of this, was caught white labeling, to say,
in a sense,
right, for lack of a better term. So basically, he said that the shirts were being made in America, and so he took the tags off of the shirts that were coming from, wherever, Honduras or Taiwan or China or whatever other country, and took the tags off and replaced them with tags that said the shirt was made in America, which, of course, is not true. I think for the principle of what he did isn't exactly a foreign thing, for no pun intended, because I think all of us here have done the whole, like, these were produced in America. The shirt was printed in America, produced,
right.
The garment,
which is a totally different thing, though.
Which is completely different.
Right.
Had he said that, and I think on his website there is some verbiage to that effect, of saying, like, hey, these are imported from elsewhere and produced and printed and packaged and sewn and embroidered and whatever I think it's in Utah, in America, in Utah, and then we send them out. So that's a different premise and a different kind of context than saying that, hey, these shirts were actually manufactured in America. And you might be thinking, what's the big deal? Why would he say that? I think the majority of his fan base are conservatives, and conservatives have a pretty healthy opposition towards China and CCP. Just because I said that, I don't know if this will make it on the air, but please don't ban us. But yeah, very healthy opposition to China, and because of that, there's this strive for, hey, let's American-made products and cut China out of the thing. But the reality is the Gildan's made in Honduras or Mexico or Taiwan. Like, I don't see a whole lot of shirts that are actually manufactured in China itself.
Right, in the U.S., right? Yeah, that's what you're saying. You said in China, but yeah. Oh, you're saying there's not a lot of shirts that are made in China. Okay,
no,
right.
Everywhere, I've seen a lot of Taiwan. I've seen a lot of Honduras. I've seen some, like TSC's home brand was in Mexico, whatever they called that. So that, but I haven't seen a lot of tags that say, oh yeah, this was actually manufactured in China. So.
Now there are some that are actually manufactured in the U.S. However, like Bella has a whole line of shirts. They're 3001, that are
but they're American.
3001 USA. Yeah, they're made in the U.S. Now the blank cost is twice as much as the ones that they shipped out. They do some in Mexico and some of the other countries that you mentioned. It's so I think the biggest thing here is, like, the difference between made in the USA and printed in the USA. I think, because like on his website, I'll just read it from, this website that Chris Kretz actually posted in our group. And it says, this is something that they have had. I don't know if they still have it, but it was on their website when the FTC actually fined them the $200,000. It said at that time, in our effort to keep as many jobs as possible inside the USA, our blank garments or items that are purchased internationally are shipped to the USA to be printed, embroidered, laser engraved, tagged, and bagged, all inside the USA. It says on the website, this process is commonly known as white labeling. So all of that to say, that phrase right there is 100% accurate and totally okay with the FTC.
Yep.
You're saying we have purchased these garments internationally and they are printed here in the US. As a matter of fact, on my Amazon listings and our Etsy listings, our Walmart listings, we have a little picture thing, like you have the different mock-ups and all that. One of ours is a printed in the USA picture that we put as a mock-up because they are. I'm here in Colorado. We get these shirts and these, mugs and all these different things from all over the place. 99% of the time they are international, unless our customer asks specifically for a USA made garment. But I've had them ask for USA made mugs and I don't even know where to get those. So I have not ever been able to do a mug that was USA made. I'm sure there probably is somebody, but I also guarantee it's probably 4 to 5 times as much as I can get them from, elsewhere. So we specifically say printed in the USA, which again, like they say, it's commonly known as white labeling. You take a product and then you do with it what you will, and then you sell it. So it was kind of, it's very interesting that they chose to go kind of beyond what they said on their website and actually removed tags. And this is where it got really bad for them, because not only do the tags that you have on your apparel shirts have where the country of origin, they also have a lot of other little details that if you're going to be
that's legally required.
If you're going to be a mass distributor of products and you want to mess with the tags, you better know what you're doing, because you can get into trouble really quick. Now, mom and pops selling on Etsy, selling on Amazon, you're selling one shirt, 10 shirts a month, 50 shirts a month, probably going to stay under the radar of the FTC. I think what happened with Lions Not Sheep was they got really big really fast, and frankly probably brought some of the ire from the federal government on them, because they were really speaking out against the federal government in a lot of ways. And so that probably brought some ire and brought some investigation. But then Josiah, tell him how he got caught.
So he basically outed himself on a live video, whether it was a Facebook live video or whatever platform it was on, but he essentially said, so this is what we're doing. We're there's nothing that says I can't get away with replacing these tags, which of course is not true at all. So like you said, they did rise in popularity very quickly because of the political climate in 2020, and it was probably one of those things where you don't know what you don't know, and you don't think you need to know, and you're not surrounding yourself with people who know what is and is not permissible. So it's not great. I mean, I don't think that it's going to be a huge detriment to his business. I don't think his people are going to necessarily stop supporting him. I think he'll notice that $200,000 fine will definitely sting him a little bit, and he'll probably have to be more diligent about communicating the correct thing. But it's just, it was interesting because we've talked a lot about white labeling and IP infringement, which just isn't one of those things, but it's kind of in that context of like, hey, this is something that you shouldn't, this is a no-no. This is another one of those things. Like, don't say that it's produced in America. You can say that it is, or sorry, don't say that it was manufactured. You can say that it was printed or produced. And that little difference in language will save you apparently $200,000, because that is a lot of money for a mistake that is just honestly kind of silly that it even had to. You shouldn't have had to endure that. It's kind of self-inflicted a little bit.
Yeah, I'm looking at the actual FTC.gov their statement that they made, and they have a little picture of what they actually put on. So he ripped the tags out, and then he did a screen printing or a tag, and it says Lions Not Sheep trademark, and then it has the small for that particular size, and this is 50% polyester, 25% cotton, 5% rayon. Yep, you see it right there. Wash and cold, tumble, dry, low. lionsnotsheep.com, and then right there, made in the USA. So that shirt that you're seeing that on was not made in the USA. If he would have changed that word to printed, probably wouldn't have had an issue. Actually, I take that back, because this is the only identifying piece of this is basically replacing the label. He does need to say made in Bangladesh, made in China, made in Honduras, or whatever. But he could have said, and we have done this on our listings, made in China, printed in the US, whatever, or designed in the US, if you're using a drop shipper that's drop shipping from China, I don't know. Yeah. But there's a definite words matter, people.
Yeah. I guess. It makes, especially in the realm of kind of legalese and, all of these things that are required. Language definitely does make a huge difference. If he would have said, like you said, manufactured in Taiwan, printed in the USA, that sure, but because he'd be
$200,000 richer.
He would $211,335. Looks like here exactly. So that, hey guys, don't do that. That's basically what we're saying. White labeling is fine if you want to take the appropriate information and then put it on a tag with your brand on it. It's not something that is, like we said, unheard of, but you just have to make sure you are doing it the correct way. That's
exactly. Yep.
So another thing, Travis, that we talked about, that again from our Facebook group, as long as we're shouting out people who have left us cool things in our Facebook group. Another Chris, is it Pupke? I'm always hesitant to say his name. Yep. So I don't know if I'm going to get it right. Sweet. Chris.
He'll correct us if it's not.
I'm sure he will. That's true. He shared something with us as well in our Facebook group that we thought was kind of interesting, and we wanted to show you guys as here. This is, if you're watching the video version, which you should be on Spotify or YouTube, this is, it says Target got a robot manicure machine, $8, and only took 10 minutes. What you're seeing here is this robot painting this woman's nails.
Yeah.
The video is only a nail that it's painting because it's just looped, but it's like print on demand pedicures. Essentially, it's what we're seeing.
It's incredible. Now, it's not actually doing a pedicure, because pedicure, you got to get into the cuticle and all that. And don't ask me how I know this. I've just been married almost 25 years. But yeah, what we're seeing on the actual video is just a simple painting of the nail. But you see a little light right before it, which I'm assuming is like kind of placing, targeting and saying, okay, this is where the nail is. This is where I need to paint. But the thing that Chris was talking about is, what if you could potentially somehow get a royalty, create a design that people could choose on this machine and say, I want that on my nail. And then you would get a royalty every time that would happen. It's very, very cool. This kind of came from one of our magic questions when we ask interviewees, I guess, on the show, put your turban on and look into the crystal ball. What's the future of print on demand? And then he saw this and he was like, oh my gosh, this is a great answer for that question. And I totally agree. It's super cool to be able to see this. Now, if you go to this is actually a TikTok that we're seeing that he was sharing. And if you go to it and you look at I went and looked at the comments, and it's like, I don't know if I'd put my finger in there, to a robot. It's a little bit, scary. Yeah. I feel like that this is still the future. It might be early adopters type stuff, but people used to not want to put their credit cards into, online forms, or a shopping center. So it's just a matter of time before stuff like this is kind of par for the course.
We've talked. We talked about before we went on is like, I think I'd trust a robot to paint my nail before I'd let it drive my car autonomously. You know, because I guess worst case scenario is, you know, if it damages your finger or whatever, like, okay, yeah, that's gonna suck, but at least it's not gonna crash your car and you could die. So that's, you know, risk reward ratio. But it is interesting to see these kinds of things taking prominence. I know there's some technology for tattoos as well that's kind of along those same lines, like put your arm in and it's going to read it and then start, you know, making the designs, because tattoos are print on demand of sorts. They're just very permanent print on demand. It's PPOD. So it'll be interesting as well. I don't think I'd trust a robot to tattoo my arm necessarily, but you know, crazy things have happened, I suppose. So yeah, it's crazy. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the future with this as well. So let's go a little to our main event. If you haven't been able to tell now, dear listener, this is a very informal episode. This is kind of some stuff that Travis and I were kind of just chatting about offline that we want to just bring up to you as well. And we just honestly kind of arbitrarily delineating point of interest from main event, because why not? It's our show. We'll do what we want. So anyway, with that being said, let's just go ahead and transition to the main event.
Ladies and gentlemen, the main event.
All right, we are going to go straight into the main event, which is something that Travis brought up to me that is happening with Amazon. That started as a glitch, I believe, and he basically it broke. Amazon's broken, or it was broke. So I mean, let's be honest, broken in a lot of ways, more than one. But in this particular instance, it has affected people's ability to list products on the platform, which obviously, if you are selling on Amazon, the main point is to list your products for sale on Amazon. And as we're entering in fourth quarter, right, it is nigh. It's very soon. It's 2 months away. Might as well be now, as far as how you're preparing for this whole thing. But it is a massive inconvenience to have this platform run into this issue that is causing people to not be able to list their particular products. I don't know the specifics of exactly what's happening, but we're going to get into that here shortly. And I'm just going to shoot straight with you guys. Oh, he's back. I think I hear him. Travis had to take a break. I was running out of things to say, which is unusual for me, but Travis is here. We need to make a longer bumper, or like a what are the things like when the signal was interrupted on TV, like and it's like the color bars. Yeah. So whenever there's just a unexpected break in the action, which unexpected is a loose term given that Travis had 4 IPAs before we pressed record.
Cheers, brother.
Yes, sir. So I was just telling the people in your brief absence about this thing that's happening with Amazon. So give us a little bit more specifics. You were talking to me before we pressed record about this glitch in the matrix that was attempted to be fixed and then broke everything worse than what it was before.
Yeah. So we've been kind of seeing this for a couple weeks now and just trying to figure out exactly what's going on. So all of that to say, so there's a couple things that are going on. One of the things is like you were mentioning, the ability to list certain products is being affected for some people, for a lot of people, actually. The other thing that is also being affected is a lot of the integrations that maybe people have with Amazon. Maybe you're having them integrate with Printify or Printful or, Gear Bubble or other things like that. Other, Gelato, all of those companies. Yeah. There are, your orders are coming in and they may not be being passed to your integrator. Okay. So it might not be being passed to Printful. You need to go in and check that and see if your integrations are still working, because reports are that most of them, if not all of them, are broken. So as a result of this whole thing. Now, that doesn't mean that it's broken for everybody. It also doesn't mean there's a lot of things that it does mean and a lot of things that it doesn't mean. And it literally only matters if you can look at your account and see what's happening, because a lot of people use what's called a GTIN exemption, which is a global trade number, GTIN, I can't remember. But like a UPC or an EAN is a GTIN. And so what they'll use on Amazon, so they don't have to enter a UPC or an EAN, they'll use a GTIN exemption to get out, to exempt themselves from having to use a GTIN. And a lot of them, typically they make you say, well, what brand is this associated with? So I've put my brand in there and gotten a GTIN exemption for my brand. A lot of people didn't have like a trademark on the brand or anything, so they would use the word generic. And for a lot of times, the longest time since I remember, you've been able to list under the term generic as your brand, and be able to list pretty much anything you want, as long as you applied for it and you got it and you did jump through their hoops. Yeah. That seems to be broken now. So a lot of people with generic GTIN exemptions are not able to list products. It's kind of going in two different ways. Some people are just not able to list anything at all. Other people are not able to list certain like new things. So for instance, for us, I can still list coffee mugs. Because we've been doing it forever. I say because, but I don't really know that it's because I've been doing it.
You're assuming it's just
because. Yes, I'm assuming it's that, that's all we're doing right here. We're just making a bunch of assumptions and just giving you our best guesses on why these things are happening. But I can list coffee mugs, but I recently went to list a bunch of our designs on totes. And we got all of these different errors on the flat file that we uploaded. And we were like, okay, what is this? We're jumping through all of Amazon's hoops. And all of a sudden they're saying, well, we need pictures in all different directions of the product. We need to see the UPC. We need to see the tags. We need to see the packaging. We need to see all of the, and they're just going down the list, which is very new. It's not something that they've done in the past. And it's not just me. I've been in a lot of Facebook groups. A lot of people in the print on demand space that do list on Amazon are talking about this. My best guess is that you're going to be grandfathered into some of the categories that you've listed a lot of things in. But if you try to go to another category, another type of product, because a coffee mug is a lot different than a tote, you're going to run into problems. Or if you haven't listed in that particular category in X number of months or whatever, maybe it was easy before, but now it's not working. And again, I'm just speculating at this point. I have no idea. I have one friend that is speculating that, well, I have a couple of people that have speculated that maybe this is Amazon's way of limiting the amount of print on demand sellers that are on their platform, which would make sense, I suppose. I don't want to like raise the alarm bells or anything with everybody, but it would make sense because they're getting, because of the fact that these are print on demand products and they don't actually exist, you can literally, with the right automation, you can list millions, which makes their catalog bigger and probably less. I don't know. It creates a lot more data for them to have to host, for one, on their site. And it makes a lot of bad products, frankly. There's some products out there that literally do everything for you. And a lot of their outputs are just garbage. They'll basically take the same phrase and use 1,000 or 2,000 fonts and then put them on another 100 products. And then they just sell you a subscription to do this automatically every single day for all time. And so you get a lot of, really crappy products on their platform. So I could see them using this as a technique to slow the development of print on demand. At the same time, I see it as kind of a barrier to entry that if you can cross, you'll have a lot less competition. So there's a plus and a minus there. But yeah, so that's basically my experience so far, because like I said, I'm brand registered, so I should be able to, in my brand, just list whatever I want because it's my brand. But apparently that's not the way Amazon sees it. And it could potentially, and I'm hoping this is the case, it could just be a glitch and they're trying to figure out something inside, and maybe they were trying to attack this one thing and they changed some things and it really
Sure.
blew up in their face. And now they're just scrambling, because when you talk about Amazon, we all know it is the 800-pound gorilla. It's a massive company. And so the left hand a lot of times doesn't know what the right hand is doing. And so one flip of the switch by the developers or whatever could totally destroy something. And then all of a sudden all of these poor seller support people are getting inundated with, why is it this way? Why? And they're just giving forms out, this is what you need to do. And and they don't have any other information. So all they can do is answer every single email with the same damn thing. And it just really frustrates you. Cause you go, well, what? Yeah, but how about this? No, I'm brand registered. And they go, blah, 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 and they say the exact same thing they said in the previous email. And it's just over and over again. And their sellers are getting really frustrated, but they don't have any more information because it hasn't come down the pike yet. So that is a definite possibility here. But yeah, that's pretty much all I know.
Yeah, it seems like a giant cluster, which again isn't too uncommon when it comes to stuff that Amazon has done or is doing or will continue to do, simply because, like you said, it's such a massive corporation where there's a lot of lack of communication and it's hard to really get some actual answers, which is why this is all speculation. I mean, we could get two different answers from two different people, really. If we had Amazon, if we were able to bring one person on, get an answer, bring another person on, probably a completely different answer. So that's why this is all just kind of best guess type of stuff at this point. But it's just, but as long as you know that, as long as you are aware that that's what you're going to get yourself into, it's good to know. The more you know, right, Travis? So I always say. So speaking of the more you know, so this is a complete tangent. It's nothing to do with any of this, but a little more waffle really is what this is. So I was watching when I was in Wyoming. I was watching this documentary with my family because my nephew is big into documentaries and nature stuff. So we're just watching this thing, and it's talking about swordfish. And I know nothing about swordfish other than there's a team in Florida that's named after them and they play baseball. That's about it. So, but this guy was talking about swordfish and how dangerous they are. And the fact that the swordfish, did you know, has very few predators in the wild.
Right.
Which I didn't know they were like on top of the food chain, but it makes sense because of their, obviously the sword. So yeah, the swordfish have very few predators in the wild. However, there is one fish that can take them out. The rare penfish, which is said to be mightier.
The more you know.
The more you know. And if you are wondering if I'm being serious,
time for the weekly dad joke.
That was this week's dad joke. I had to squeeze it in there, shoehorn that thing in before we forgot it. But yeah, so John, if about this Amazon thing, what do you think is going to be the resolution, or what do you think would be the more effective way to kind of limit the number of print-on-demand sellers other than just breaking something so egregiously and having people adjust?
Well, I've already told my VAs, I said, hey, let's focus on mugs for Amazon, but let's focus on all these other products for our other channels. So don't try to make flat files for these, Amazon or these Amazon products because we can't upload them yet. So I've already told them to kind of basically use their hours in a different way. I'm not giving up. I'm still in the process of actually me and Uncle Mike are talking a lot about this particular issue. And I'm getting ready to kind of try to jump through all their hoops. And I've created little tags that I'm going to put on the thing to make it look like it's, hey, this has got a tag on it and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to take the pictures, all the things they want, give them everything that they need, and see what happens, just as kind of a test case. If that works, then man, hey, I got the answer. If it doesn't work, then it's kind of hurry up and wait, and see if they can get their crap together. I don't think they're going to ever come out and go, hey, we made a mistake.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's what you need to do now. This is what you need to change. And they're not going to come out. So you just got to keep trying. So if we don't hear anything, or if what we're doing isn't working, we'll probably just like once a month, just we'll have a little test file or whatever, and we'll just shoot it up there and see what happens and see if we can get a different code or a different if it will list or not. It's very, very frustrating. I totally get this. Amazon has been changing things since I've been on their platform, which is going on 8 years now.
Wow.
From the time when I was, just doing retail arbitrage and private label and things like that to today, they change stuff all the time. And a lot of times when they change stuff, they're like in a constant state of beta testing and we are their beta testers. It seems like a lot of times. So yeah, we'll just keep trying. We'll wait. And, but if I have some success with some of the stuff, it'll be good for you to understand kind of what you need to do and maybe how we did it. And hopefully that can help you. So continue to tune into the PODcast, and we'll see kind of what we come up with as I do some of these testings. And I will say, if you have an idea, if you have maybe jumped through their hoops or are experiencing something different than what I'm experiencing, please join our Facebook group and make a post and share with us. So printondemandcast.com/Facebook. Just go there, share maybe something that you've discovered, or maybe something that is going on with your account that may be able to help other people. We are in this together. We are not competitors. I mean, I think that's the one thing that the Print on Demand cast has always we've championed that. We are a family. We are a group. We are not competitors. The pie is freaking big enough, people. We are not competing for the pie. It's big enough for all of us. So let's try to work this problem together. And as I said before, if I find anything, I will certainly share that with you guys. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, join the Facebook group. Let us know if you've heard anything, and we will do the same. If we find out more or find a solution, we'll let you know here. Because, I feel like Amazon is constantly changing, and a lot of times it's arbitrary, and most of the time they don't tell you, and then all of the time you can't get an answer, which can be incredibly damaging.
Emotional damage.
So that if you're an Amazon seller, that's the number one byproduct, I think. Besides, hopefully, good income is emotional damage.
So you get nothing.
It's true. That's exactly what you get when you try and solve an Amazon problem with their help. So anyway, Travis, anything else before we wrap this one up and move on to? Well, we have an iTunes review, which is awesome. We have a new one. We'll get to that. Anything else on this particular topic before we transition?
I don't think so. I think I've shared everything I know, and frankly, it's not a lot. I can just talk a long time.
Lots of waffle.
All
right, so here is this new 5-star review from Getting Skinny 211, left 2 days ago, August 6, 2022. The title, Valuable. She says, this is one of the few podcasts that I've actually stopped playing in order to... Hold on 1 second. We're going to actually try and do this.
Oh, I like it.
Yes. 5-star review.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. This is Travis Ross from 911 News. We've got a special update. Josiah, why don't you take it away?
Yes, thank you, Travis. I am here live from my half of the PODcast studios with breaking news announcement here, folks. We have a new 5-star review from Getting Skinny 211 left 2 days ago. Allegedly, it says this: valuable. This is one of the few podcasts I've actually stopped playing in order to take notes on what they're saying. Episode 101, I think that's the number, talks a lot about getting organized. They share all kinds of actionable advice that I haven't heard any other podcasters talk about. Thanks, guys. Keep up the good work, with a praise hands emoji. Quick suggestion: share an example of the product spreadsheet you talked about during the Getting Organized discussion. Well, Getting Skinny, we will definitely do our best to do that. Thank you so much for following our advice and leaving a 5-star review. And like we promised you, you were shout out on the show in a way that no other 5-star review has been shouted out up until this point. So thank you so much for your input, and we will see you hopefully soon, hopefully on our live next week with Chris Green. Travis?
Thanks, Josiah. That was incredibly insightful. Now, if we could only figure out why we actually took the time to put this background music in and waffle.
That's pretty good. I mean, it's
good.
a low barrier of entry for ideas that get on this show, and we just raised it a little bit.
Very small amount.
Very small amount. But hey, you know, it's all an improv game, really. You guys don't know that. This whole thing is just one giant improv game each and every week.
It really is.
But
we just happen to know a little bit about print on demand, but other than that, it's just basically actor games. You know?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a bunch of bits over and over and over again until you guys get sick of them.
True international pressure.
So, all right. So we're going to go ahead and roll this one out. Thank you guys so much for putting up with us, basically, is what I'm wanting to say, because it is a little ridiculous. So just like last week, in the closing of this episode, we're going to play a little bit of music underneath because it just feels right. But thank you guys so much for listening to episode 103. We'll be back next week with the 2-year episode, the monumental, the epic, the incredible, the Facebook Live edition of the Print on Demand cast, celebrating 2 years. We're 2 years old, and in 19 more years, this show will be legally able to have a drink. But for now, it's 2 years, and we won't be as excessive as a 1-year party for a child, but it is going to be pretty fun. So, dad joke tournaments. Chris Green will be on the show with us, and he is just chock full of things to talk about. There will be no shortage of waffle or improv on that particular episode. If you guys want to keep in the loop as to what is happening, we've said it a few times already on this episode. printondemandcast.com/Facebook is where you go for that information. You can join the group, join the conversation, and you'll know exactly what's happening when it is happening. You can also go to printondemandcast.com/YouTube and Instagram for other social media channels to see more of what's happening. And the YouTube versions go up on Friday. The video version, if you don't want to wait, if you're impatient, like I am about some things, like Cobra Kai is about to come out, and I'm so excited about it, and I'm going to binge it, and I'm going to be impatient for the next season. Yeah, it's coming out next month.
I didn't know that.
Nothing to do with this particular show, but hey, like we said, it's all one giant improv game. So if you're impatient, you want to see the video version early, you can go to Spotify. We have video available on Spotify. You can go there. Also, of course, wherever there are podcasts, the PODcast is available for you. Apple, Stitcher, Google, I don't know, Shopify. They'll have one eventually. It's all going to be, everyone's going to have a podcast thing, and it's going to be a good time. But if you leave a 5-star review, we'll shout it out on the show, like Getting Skinny 211. We can't promise it'll be in a news anchor format, although that was a lot of fun, and I wouldn't be against doing that again. But we'll see. But please leave a 5-star review and let us know what you're enjoying about the show. Your favorite dad joke, a suggestion like Getting Skinny left us that was awesome, that we're definitely going to take some actionable advice there as well to put into our future show. So thank you so much again, Getting Skinny. If you don't want to do the social media thing and you don't want to leave a review, we'll forgive you. You can email us though and let us know what you're thinking about and how things are going. As Travis he's really digging this lo-fi music, which, you know,
totally, baby.
I love it. Lo-fi is great. I love lo-fi beats, lo-fi everything. But you can reach out to us, info@printondemandcast.com is where you can email us if you hate all things social media, and we will empathize with you and understand completely why you have that position at this time in our culture. So thank you guys so much. We look very much forward to having you back here with us live next week on the Print on Demand cast. So For Travis, I'm Josiah. We'll see you next week live. 2 years, baby. See you then.
See ya.
Hey, babe. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.